Okay, so this is day 49. This is the beginning of our third chapter about geology. And the first few days here are going to be about minerals and natural resources. So why study minerals? Almost everything that you buy or use can come from natural resources in one way or the other. And by natural resource, let's make sure that everybody understands that term. A natural resource is a thing found in nature that living things used to use to meet their needs. So there's a wide variety of things that would be considered natural resources. Some of them might be a little bit surprising to you. We have then a cartoon here that kind of illustrates some of the things that we use throughout our lives and how much we use for the average life. Some of them are kind of surprising. 1.25 million pounds of stone, gravel, and sand. Now, we don't use that in our daily life, but we use the highways, and they all have those things underneath them. 72,000 gallons of petroleum, 452,000 pounds of coal, and it just goes on and on all around. Some of these natural resources we use directly, such as fresh water for drinking and hygiene. By hygiene, we mean taking baths and washing our face and all that kind of stuff. Toilets. Animals are a natural resource. We use those for food. Some people still use them for mechanical work as well, as in pulling plows. But an animal is a natural resource, whether it is a domesticated animal on a farm or a wild animal that we hunt for food. Plants are a natural resource, whether we use them for food or medicines or building materials. Fungi, that's the plural for fungus, like a mushroom or other kinds of sort of like a plant material. Those are used for medicines as well as for food. Some natural resources we use indirectly, meaning that we take the raw materials and we change them into usable products. One example of this, one of the most dominant, will be metals. We use iron predominantly. Aluminum is a close second, and so is copper. We use these things for wires, fasteners, building materials. Gypsum, that's the white material that's used in plaster and drywall. Oil is used for gasoline, plastics. It's also used for diesel fuel, lubrications, mineral spirits. Waxes and greases are also coming from oil. Coal is a natural resource used for electricity as well as for heating up buildings. Natural gas is used for heat predominantly, although there are some cases where we use the natural gas for the atoms in it. Trees, a natural resource used for paper products and wood. And lastly, sand is used for glass as well as some other things. Many of these natural resources come from minerals that are mined from deep in the earth. So now we have to figure out exactly what a mineral is. In order to figure out if a mineral or if a substance is a mineral or not, scientists ask 4 basic questions about the substance. If the answer is yes to all of these questions, then the substance is a mineral. First question we ask is it inorganic? Inorganic means that something is not made of living or previously living things. The IN means not organic. And the part of the word organic that refers to living things. So inorganic is not living. So plain old organic is something that was made up of previously living things. The second question that somebody asks, if they're trying to figure out if something is a mineral or not, is does this material occur naturally? The material must be made out of one or many of the elements that can be found on Earth, such as silver or sulfur. It cannot contain any lab-created elements or manufactured substances. If any of the substance is manufactured in a factory or in a research lab of some sort, then it is not a natural resource. The third question, is it solid in a crystalline form. It must be solid at normal room temperature and pressure ranges that are experienced on the surface of the Earth or slightly under the surface of the Earth. Now, a crystal is a substance that has a natural solid with a definite shape that shows the geometric arrangement of the atoms within it. A geometric arrangement means some kind of a pattern that repeats over and over. And the atoms are trapped in this pattern, and since they can't move around, it's a solid. So let's look at some different kinds of patterns. Table salt is made out of a big atom of sodium and a smaller atom of chlorine. And these arrange themselves in a pattern like this, alternating back and forth. It's sort of like a checkerboard pattern. If I was to connect the centers of each one of the atoms, I end up making squares. Another word for a three-dimensional square is a cube. So this would be a cubic crystal. Looks like that. But crystals can have all sorts of patterns. Other materials, they will form crystals that have arrangements like this. If I was to draw lines in between the atoms, it comes up with a six-sided figure called a hexagon. And this can repeat over and over and over. This would be a hexagonal crystal, like that. A six-sided figure that repeats over and over and over. There are lots of other shapes as well, but if they have a repeating pattern, they are called a crystal. The fourth question that a scientist would ask about a material is, does it have a definite chemical composition? A mineral can be a single element, or it can be a compound or a combination of many elements. However, it must always have the same chemical formula. In other words, it has the same ingredients in the same proportions. Sort of like it's made with the same recipe no matter where you look. So if we put all of these four things together, we come up with this definition of a mineral. A mineral is a natural, inorganic, crystalline, solid material that has a definite chemical formula. And that's the end of the notes. Please go on to the next activity for the rest of the class period.